In this courtroom hearing, a serious sentencing decision takes place before Judge Boyd, involving a defendant with a long history of criminal behavior. The case centers around drug-related charges, where the defendant has already pleaded guilty. At the beginning of the hearing, the defendant tries to explain his situation and asks the court for mercy. He mentions that he needs to take care of his sick mother and requests probation instead of prison time. However, his explanation does not strongly influence the court's decision. As the hearing continues, Judge Boyd carefully reviews the defendant's background and previous record. It becomes clear that this is not his first offense. The judge points out that the defendant has repeatedly chosen illegal activities instead of finding stable and honest work. He also admits that he was selling drugs to make quick money, which raises serious concerns in the courtroom. Judge Boyd responds firmly but clearly. She explains that his actions show a pattern of bad decisions, and this cannot be ignored anymore. Despite the defendant's request for a lighter punishment, the judge decides that a strong sentence is necessary to reflect the seriousness of the crime and to prevent future offenses. In the end, the court sentences the defendant to 9 years in prison. The judge also gives him a strong warning, saying that if he commits any future felony after release, he could face a much longer mandatory prison term. Before closing the case, Judge Boyd encourages the defendant to use his time in prison to reflect on his choices and focus on improving his life and relationships, especially with his family. The hearing ends with a serious reminder of the consequences of repeated criminal actions.
Do you think that you could comply with the terms and conditions of probation?
I know I can.
You'd have to report once a month. You'd have to stay out of trouble.
Yes, ma'am.
You can't hang around with people who sell or use drugs.
Yes, ma'am.
And you can't sell or use drugs yourself.
Right.
But you feel that you could comply at this time in your life.
Yes, ma'am. I know I can.
Pass witness, Shawna.
State, any questions? All right. So what is his criminal history? Yes, please. Defense, any objections to the court review? I just sell drugs. At the same token, people will come before me, and you've come before me, and you said there are other people that you need to take care of. People need to think about that before they do wrong. You understand?
I understand.
All right. This is what the court is going to do. And the court will sentence you to 9 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. And the cause number ending in 303. Court will find you guilty. The court will sentence you to a $1,500 fine. Time and money will run concurrent. Sentence you to 9 years in the prison. Give you credit for any time served. This will run concurrent with 2024. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorneys? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes.
All right, because these are plea bargain agreements, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, I've actually given you something less than you bargained for. And because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because these are felony convictions, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. You are at a point now that if you pick up any new felony charges, depending on what type of felony it is, you're looking at a minimum of 25 years. And I will tell you, people say, oh, the jail is overcrowded. Oh, the prison is overcrowded. Guess what? People will always build new prison. They'll always find space for you. And if a cell is only supposed to have 10 people in it, if they need to put 20 people in that cell, they're going to put 20 people in that cell, whether it's a violation of federal law or not. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you love your mom, like you say you love your mom, then you need to stop doing this because you're breaking her heart. You understand?
Sure.
All right. Good luck to you. Okay.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor. Maybe excuse.
He has some dismissal, so he'll have it.
As the courtroom hearing moves toward its conclusion, the atmosphere becomes heavy with finality. Judge Boyd takes a moment to address the defendant directly, ensuring that the seriousness of the situation is fully understood. The case is not treated lightly, as it involves repeated criminal conduct and a clear pattern of poor decisions that have led to this point. The defendant is given one last opportunity to hear the reasoning behind the court's decision. Despite expressing personal struggles and asking for leniency, the judge makes it clear that responsibility cannot be avoided. The court emphasizes that while personal circumstances may be difficult, they do not justify ongoing illegal activity, especially when it involves drug-related offenses. The sentence is ultimately delivered, 9 years in prison. The decision reflects not only the current offense but also the defendant's history and the need to protect the community from continued harm. A strong warning is also issued for the future, stating that any further felony conviction could result in a significantly longer mandatory prison term. As the judge finishes speaking, she urges the defendant to use his time in custody wisely. The focus is placed on self-reflection, accountability, and the importance of making better choices moving forward. There is an emphasis on changing one's life path and recognizing the long-term consequences of repeated criminal behavior. The courtroom then falls into silence as the reality of the sentence settles in. The hearing ends on a serious note, leaving a strong message about accountability, consequences, and the possibility of change even after a difficult outcome.